It shall be that fishermen will stand by it from En-Gedi to En-Eglam. They will be places for spreading their nets. Their fish will be of the same kind as the fish of the great sea, exceedingly many. But its swamps and marshes will not be healed. They will be given over to salt. Along the bank of the river on this side and that will grow all kinds of trees used for food. Their leaves will not wither, and their fruit will not fail. They will bear fruit every month because their water flows from the sanctuary. Their fruit will be for food, and their leaves for medicine. We'd like to read a comment of the pastor. This is taken from reprint 3624 on this account of Ezekiel called the life-giving stream. Under that article, there's a subheading, a refreshing picture. And I'll quote. It says, thus seen, God has rich blessings in store for mankind in general in the day when his kingdom shall be established amongst men in Emmanuel's day. The restitution of that time is pictured in the leaves of the trees. The abundance of instruction and nourishment, mental, moral, and physical, is represented in the fruit of the trees. More than this, wherever the water of this river went, life resulted. And finally it emptied in itself into the Dead Sea, with the effect that the waters of the latter were healed. Fishes thrive well in seawater, but the water of the Dead Sea is about 5 times as strongly impregnated with salts. And as a consequence, fish taken from the Mediterranean and put into the Dead Sea die in a few minutes. Hence its name, Dead Sea. It would not at all surprise us if in the beginning of the millennial age, not only the nation of Israel would receive the blessing of the Lord, lost at the beginning of this gospel age, and become his representative people in the world, the church having been taken from the world, glorified spirit beings, but neither would it surprise us if, in the Lord's providence, some miracle were wrought by which the Dead Sea would become connected with the Mediterranean, possibly refreshed also. Some of us, and maybe all of us, have heard Brother Ken Rawson speak of the Med-Dead project, and it's been written up in the papers. Med, of course, meaning shortened for Mediterranean, and dead for the Dead Sea. There was, even in our papers not too long ago, that they had first scrapped that idea, the Israelis, but now they're considering it again. So it's interesting that they are even thinking of such a thing, but the scriptures speak of this in a way of a symbolic way, but as he said, possibly this might happen as a literal fulfillment as well as symbolic. Continuing with it, his remarks that they would possibly be refreshed also by some such river as is here described by Ezekiel, a picture of the symbolical river of life flowing from New Jerusalem. But however interested we might be in the thought that such a literal fulfillment of this prophecy, our interest is still greater in the fulfillment of it as a symbol in accord with the river of Revelation. And from this symbolic standpoint, the Dead Sea represents the dead world. And the coming of life-giving waters would represent the resurrection power of the Lord and the church exercised among men during the millennial age. As the apostle expresses it, it would mean for the Gentiles life from the dead. But while it is refreshing and exhilarating to look down into the future and think of the blessings to come, it is important that we draw practical lessons and apply them to ourselves and see to it that we do all in our power now to make our calling and election sure, that we may be of that New Jerusalem class, the bride glorified, from whom the river of the water of life will issue. There is no doubt that it will all be accomplished, because the word of the Lord has spoken it. The whole question for us is whether we or others will be the Lord's ministers, servants, honored agents in causing the blessing of the Lord to fill the whole earth. The more we love the glorious prospects set before us in the Word, the more we will strive for present participation in the sufferings of Christ, in laying down our lives for the brethren, and for further participation in the glories of Christ and the blessing of all the families of the earth. That is the end thoughts of that article and the conclusion of that article. And so we have that picture before us in Hosea, in Joel, Amos, Obadiah, Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk. And there are more, but it gives you an idea in the substance of the thought that by the mouth, from the mouth of all of God's holy prophets, is this beautiful picture of the restitution process and the completion of this, again, of the picture that we have of the seventh trumpet sounding. And 1,000 years is a long term to us earthlings, but to the Lord, what is it? As a day. 1,000 years as a day. And we rejoice in this, that we are privileged to see these things and to participate, but more so that we work on making ourselves profitable, that we will be found worthy.